This episode is brought to you by Greenskies Analytics, an audit analytics service provider that works with internal audit departments that have data analysts and are still frustrated with trying to make analytics actually work, aren't getting the expected ROI, who can't break through the communication barrier between the analysts and the audit team, and those that need experienced direction for an audit analytics strategy and process. Those that feel like they've wasted time and money on trainings, aren't getting the value they want, not prioritizing the highest risk areas for the organizations, or have projects that seemingly never get completed. Do you deal with any of that? If you do, go to the show notes of this episode and click the Greenskies Analytics link, or go to greenskiesanalytics.com to schedule a call and understand how Greenskies Analytics makes analytics actually work for internal audit. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Audit Podcast. I'm your host, Trent Russell, and today we don't have a guest. Typically, we do. If you're unfamiliar with the show, you should probably have scrolled through iTunes, Spotify, whatever it is, and realized that we do typically have a guest. Today, though, I just wanted to make an announcement. Again, if you are an avid listener, then you probably know that we have the Audit Analytics and AI Conference. It's on September 25th and 26th this year. And so I just want to take a few minutes to speak about that. One, also, if you're an avid listener, you might know that we did not run a typical sponsor intro promo at the beginning. And that's because I wanted to talk specifically about the two sponsors for the conference this year. We only went after two organizations as sponsors. So I said, I believe in this vendor and I believe in this one, and I trust them and I can recommend them wholeheartedly and be okay with that. And so those two are AuditBoard and Supervisor. Now, AuditBoard, most of you probably know them as an audit management solution. They certainly have that, GRC as well. But then they also have a analytics solution that's embedded into AuditBoard. And so you can directly tie your analytic to a control or to a procedure, which is really sweet. Some of my clients have it. It is extremely easy to build analytics workflows, to test controls in there. We've had now, for one client, we've taken two different people that don't have analytics backgrounds, put them through the hour-and-a-half training that is offered through AuditBoard, and then said, hey, I want you to build a workflow to test this control, do it this way. And they were able to do it without any help from myself or anyone else on the team. Extremely easy to build custom workflows using that tool. The other one is Supervisor, and Supervisor has 350 plus out-of-the-box analytics that you can run, and so it's about as plug-and-play as you can get. I know a lot of people say that they have plug-and-play solutions, and then inevitably when you go to plug it in and play it, it doesn't really work that great. I have worked with Supervisor in the past and presently, and I know that that is the case. So I will 100% back them and say that is the case. So highly recommend checking out both of those, depending on where you are with your analytics journey there. All right, so those are the sponsors. Appreciate them a ton. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the topics that we hear most often when we talk to CAEs on this show, when we talk to our clients that we do analytics work for. They talk about AI, Power BI, and Power Apps. And those are, of the 20-ish speakers that we have, I think all but maybe two are covering those topics. So this is not like some antiquated technology that you're going to be, that we're going to be talking about during the conference. It's the latest that's going on. Some of it, Power BI, Power Apps, has been around for a while. I'll even say Gen AI has been around long enough now. But that's what it is. And it's not, we're going to have a bunch of slides and talk to you to death. I mean, of course, there are going to be slides, but this is very much a hands-on. We being the people running the sessions and doing the speaking, they're going to show you how to actually do a lot of this. And I think that's one of the biggest differences between the Audit Analytics Conference and other conferences, is that it's pull your screen up, show us how to do it. We emailed all the speakers the other day and said, hey, we need your decks by this date and et cetera. And, some of the replies were, I don't have a deck. Like, I'm just sharing my screen and showing people how to do this. So that is unlike, I think, any other conference that I've ever been at. And it's the whole reason that we started this conference. I myself would attend these types of webinars or these conferences, and I'd be the person in the back with her hand up going, hey, that's cool. Can you show me how to do what you're just talking about, though? Like, I get the concept, but can you show me how to do it? And so that's really where the idea for this conference came from. It's the only conference in the world that is dedicated to internal audit about analytics and AI. We have a lot of data analysts that sign up, obviously, to attend. And then there's also a ton of people who have no analytics or IT background in the audit profession. I highly recommend you considering that if you're not a, quote, technical person. And here's why. If you don't know what's possible with some of these tools, then you're never going to, maybe not yourself, but you're never going to have that within your organization. And it is absolutely critical at this stage in the audit profession to be able to have these types of initiatives that you can implement. And so nothing else to be able to ideate and go, hey, you know what, how we could solve that problem is with this type of technology. So I highly recommend it. Usually when I speak at conferences myself over the past probably 18 months, I've said, hey, raise your hand if you've used ChatGPT, or rather if you have not used ChatGPT. I spoke at a conference 2 weeks ago and someone raised their hand and I said, I'm going to pick on you, front row, why have you not used it? And she said, I haven't had a reason to. That's a terrible excuse. And so if you don't have a reason to, it's because you don't know what's possible. And so that's why I'd highly recommend those, again, even if you don't have a technical background, to attend so that you do know what's possible. The conference is, again, on September 25th and 26th of 2024. Last year, and even the year before that, we had a lot of people reach out individually and go, hey, I'm in the UK, I'm in Italy, I'm in Amsterdam, Southeast Asia, I am all over the world. And I'm not going to wake up at 2 a.m. and watch this conference, or stay up until 5 a.m. and watch this conference. Are recordings available? So I'm very happy to announce that this year, the recordings are available. So if you're not a morning person and don't want to wake up for the conference, totally fine. You can absolutely get the recordings. We will have those available. We get a lot of questions about when does the recording, when do those end? When are they no longer available? They'll be available through March of 2025 for those that are interested in knowing that. All right, if you want to check it out, you can go to this very long URL, theauditanalyticsconference.com. You can also go to my LinkedIn page, and we have a link there. We have a link on the Greenskies Analytics site. You can go there. Easiest way, though, at this point probably is to check in the show notes for this episode. There'll be a link to the auditanalyticsconference.com where you can follow it from there. With that said, have a good week and hope to see you on September 25th and 26th. Hey everyone, thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Audit Podcast. Whatever platform you're listening on right now, I'm sure there's a subscribe button somewhere, so please hit the subscribe button there. If you're listening through iTunes or Spotify, feel free to go give us that 5-star rating. It only took me about 16 seconds to give myself a 5-star review, and it really helps to get future guests to come on the show, so we'd really appreciate that. Lastly, be sure to check out the show notes and follow us on all our social media channels on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and on TikTok. Also, if interested, please sign up for our weekly newsletter from the Audit Podcast. Thank you all. Have a great one.